Yeah, got me in this party all up in the zone. Hottest Betty's trying to take away my cell phone. Like, come and party, I've been trying to shake you off my mind, but just can't.
Hey, what's up guys, it's me Tombomb, and today I'm starting a new series on my channel called Skyrim StoryTeller. Now what this series is going to be all about is I'm going to be reading all the books from vanilla Skyrim. Each book will be one episode. Books shouldn't take very long to read, but if you've been lazy, really wanted to read all the books for yourself, then you have this series to watch. So let's get started. So the book we're going to read, if my thing will open up properly. So the book we are going to read is going to be 16 Chords of Magnus, Volume 11. I don't really know my Roman rules, I'm going to have to learn them if I'm going to be doing this series. 16 Chords of Madness. Darius Shano found himself running as fast as he could. He had no idea what he was running from or towards, but he didn't care. The desire saturated his mind. There was nothing in the world except flight. He looked around for landmarks, anything to place himself or use as a target, but to no avail. The featureless grasslands through which he was sprinting extended as far as the eye could see. Just have to keep running, he thought to himself. I have to run as fast as I can. On and on he ran, with no end in sight or mind. Standing over Darius Shano while he lay quietly in his bed were his mistress Vermina, the Dreamweaver, and the mad god Sheogorath. Vermina looked down with pride at this disciple of hers. It was most boastful of her little jewel. Such potential in this one, through dreams of inspiration. I have nurtured literary talent into fruition, and now he stands in acclaim as an emerging bard and poet. He will gain my favor before I tire him. Sheogorath too gazed at the young Breton artist, and saw he was indeed famous among the other mortals. Mused Sheogorath. But how many are there who hate this mortal whom you have built? Is it hatred of the mortals which confirms greatness, and not their love? Surely you can accomplish this as well. Vermina's eyes narrowed. Yes, the mortals are indeed often foolish and petty, and it is true that many of their most bold have been despised. Do not worry, mad one, for I have the power to achieve many forms of greatness with one, hatred among them. Perhaps, Dreamweaver, it would be amusing to show who has this power. Inspire foolish, arrogant hatred of this mortal for 10 years, and then I will do the same. We shall see whose talents are most efficient, free of aid or interference from any other danger. At this, she relaxed into confident pleasure. The mad god is indeed powerful, but this task is suited to my skills. The mortals are repulsed by madness, but rarely think it worthy of hate. I shall take pleasure in revealing this to you, as I bring the more stubble horrors out of this mortal subconscious. And so, in the 19th year of his life, the dreams Darius Shano had been experiencing began to change. Fear had always been a part of the night for him, but now there was something else. A darkness began to creep into his slumber, a darkness that sucked away all feeling and color, leaving only emptiness behind. When this happened, he opened his mouth to scream, but found that the darkness had taken his voice as well. All he had was the terror and the void, and each night they filled him with a new understanding of death. Yet when he woke, there was no fear. He had faith that his lady had a purpose. Indeed, one night Vermina herself emerged from the void. She leaned in close to whisper in his ear, "Watch carefully, my beloved. With that, she pulled the void away, and for hours each night she would reveal to Darius the most horrible perversions of nature. Men being skinned and eaten alive by other men, and unimaginable beasts of many limbs and mouths, entire populations being burned. Their screams filled his every evening in time. These visions gnawed at his soul, and his work began to take the character of his nightmares. The images revealed to him at night were reproduced of the page, and terrible cruelty and hollow vice that his work contained both revolted and fascinated the public. They revealed their disgust over every detail. There were those who openly enjoyed his shocking material and popularity, among some only fled the hatred of those who found him abhorrent. This continued for several years, while the infamy of Darius grew steadily. In his 29th year, without warning, the dreams and nightmares ceased. Darius felt weight lifted, as he no longer endured the nightly tortures, but was confused. "What have I done to displease the mistress?" he wondered aloud. "Why has she abandoned me?" Vermina never answered his prayers. No one ever answered, and the restless dreams faded away to leave Darius in long deep sleeps. Interest in the works of Darius Shano waned. His prose began stale, and ideas failed to provoke the shock and outrage they once had. As the memory of his notoriety and his terrible dreams faded, the question that raced in his mind eventually produced the resentment against Vermina, his former mistress. Resentment grew into hatred. From hatred came ridicule, and over time, ridicule became disbelief. Slowly it became obvious Vermina had never spoken to him at all. His dreams were simply just a product of a sick mind that had righted itself. He had been deceived by his very own subconscious, and when the anger and shame overwhelmed him, the man who conversated with deity and drifted steadily into heresy. In time, all the bitterness and doubt sacrilege into focus in Darius. And creative philosophy was thrilled throughout all this subsequent work. He challenged all the gods themselves, as well as the infantile public and corrupt state for worshipping them. He mocked them with perverse. Stupid page. Sorry about that, guys. Hang on, I just need to find what I was up to. Worshipping them. He mocked them with perverse caricatures, sparing no one and giving no quarter. He challenged the gods in public to strike him down before they excited and ridiculed them. When no such communications was delivered to all of this, the people reached with outrage of greater than they had shown his previous work. His early career had offended only sensibilities, but now they were striking directly at the heart of the people. His body of work grew in size and intensity. Temples, nobles, and commoners were all targets of his scorn. Finally, at the age of 39, Darius wrote a piece entitled "The Noblest Fool," ridiculing the emperor god Tiber's septum for integrating the pathetic nine divines cult. The local king of Dania, who had been humiliated by this upstart in the past, saw his chance for his sacrilege against the empire. Darius Shano was excited with a ceremonial blade. In front of his cheering crowd of hundreds, his last bitter words were gurgled through a mouthful of his own of his own blood. 20 years after the wager was first placed, Vermina and Sheogorath met over Darius Shanov's headless corpse. A Dreamweaver had been eager for this meeting. She had been waiting for years to confront the Daedric Prince over his lack of action. I have been deceived by you, Sheogorath. I performed my half of the bargain, but during your 10 years you never contacted a mortal once. He owes none of his greatness to you, your talents or influence. Nonsense! Cracked the mad god. I was with him all along. When your time ended and mine began, your whispers in his ear replaced with silence. I served his link to that from which found the most comfort and meaning, and withheld the very attention the creature so desperately craved. Without his mistress, this man's character would rip it under. Resentment and hatred, now his bitterness and total and overcome by the madness, fueled in rage. He feeds me in my realm and as an eternal servant. Sheogorath turned and spoke with the empty space by his side. Indeed, Darius Shanov was a glorious mortal, despised by his own people, his kings, and even by the gods he mocked. For my success, I shall accept 60 followers of Vermina into my service, and the dreamers will awaken as madmen. And thus did Sheogorath teach Vermina that without madness there are no dreams, and no creation of Vermina will forget this lesson. Alrighty, so that is the end of this book. So basically what happened is Sheogorath and Vermina made a deal where for 10 years they would both make him have like dreams and like nightmares and stuff like that. For Vermina's 10 years, she gave him dreams, nightmares, and all sorts, which fueled his mind and made him, I guess, sing his songs better. But then, when Vermina's 10 years were up, Sheogorath came in, and nothing happened, making Darius Shanov's mind, how should we say this? Making Darius Shanov's mind feel empty and like he was betrayed by Vermina, and that she never existed in the first place. Made him losing all hope in God, even to the point where he despised Talos and the 9 Divines, where he eventually got the headsman's axe, I believe. So yeah, so that's the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe. Now, I know that I did make a bunch of spelling mistakes in that video, but please don't blame me. It was kind of difficult to read because I haven't finished school yet, so that was just going off the top of my head. I tried to sound all the words